Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick update. Of course, as soon as I start recording, there's a ton of traffic. Okay, so my initial plan has been to boondock in the woods north of Pine. I come down on the weekends so I can work. The internet doesn't really work up there very well. There's so many people camping. So that's been kind of my routine. Come down like Saturday morning, work Saturday, more traffic, and then head back up Sunday or Monday. Uh, so I've been checking the weather report and keeping an eye on that because monsoon season is starting here soon. And where I'm currently camping, you can't really stay there once it starts raining. The dirt is really soft and silty, and it kind of turns into like a tar pit. So it's not an option. I would get stuck and be there until it dries out, and that doesn't really happen. So today's Sunday, the 5th. On Friday, I was really hoping to be able to stay Friday night and then come down to town early on Saturday morning for work. Wednesday at about midnight, I got some neighbors that came in. Yeah. So it's fun waking up in the middle of the night to like barking dogs and engine noise when you're camped in the middle of the woods. Very peaceful. So these people showed up and camped right next to me, which I will never understand. I know it was like a holiday weekend, and we all expect a bunch of people to come up, but it's like right next to somebody. Like, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. I would never intentionally camp next to somebody because I don't want to be near people. I want to be by myself. But whatever. So these people came in at like midnight on Wednesday with their barking dogs, and so Sheila got all riled up. It was a rough night. Then Thursday and Friday was kind of rough with these people. I knew maybe it's just I have a bad attitude about it from like bad experiences, but I knew these people were going to let their dogs loose, which I get. Like, Sheila's loose all the time when it's just us. We're in the forest, there's no one around. Cars. When it's just us, Sheila's almost always loose unless there's too many cows and I need her to be still or I need her to take a break. Traffic. But if there's other people around, I want to be respectful. I don't know if their dogs are friendly. I don't know how Sheila would react to them. I don't know how they'd react to her. I don't want her to run into their camp for some reason. So I always try to be respectful about dogs and keep my dog with me. I just kind of knew that they wouldn't have the same outlook. I don't know. Maybe I expected it, and so I got what I wished for. But sure enough, they had these two wiener dogs that were just barking everywhere. There was people camped closer up to the road, and they would kind of walk on the road or ride their bikes, past our camps, and their dogs would like run out into the road and mob these people, and the owners didn't really care. They were just kind of like, come here, come back, like they didn't even get up and like chase their dogs. It was very half-assed. So Sheila basically had to be tied up for Thursday and Friday. We would take breaks and kind of go out into the woods a little bit away from them and where we could play with the ball or the frisbee, but she had a pretty boring couple of days. So Friday, those dogs were just kind of running amok. They were running up and down the street, and a guy was going off on his bike, and the dogs were following him, and they were coming over toward our camp, and I didn't want to deal with it. So Sheila and I sat inside while I worked, which she hates. She obviously wants to be loose and be outside. So we had a boring Friday. It started to sprinkle a little bit, around like 11 or so. It was just for a few minutes. It was a light sprinkle, so I wasn't too concerned about it. So I have been religiously checking the weather report, making sure it's not going to start raining on me, and it wasn't really supposed to. There was a pretty low chance. I think it was like 15% or something. We got some sprinkling. It was fine. It stopped. It was still mostly sunny with just, patches of clouds that would sprinkle a little bit here and there. so I wasn't really worried about it. And then about 3 o'clock, I'm sitting inside working, and it just starts pouring. Shit. So, luckily, I had already packed up the outside stuff, my chair and cooler and stuff like that, since I was planning on leaving pretty early on Saturday morning anyway. So, I just had some inside stuff that I needed to put away. Like tchotchkes and knickknacks, and take my plants down and things like that. And a lot of that was already done anyway too, so I didn't have too much to get going. It took about 10 minutes for me to get everything put together enough that I could drive safely. And at this point, it's still just pouring rain, and I'm kind of starting to panic. I need to be able to work Saturday morning, and especially with a holiday weekend, there's no way my internet would work up there. So I had to get out of there, and I didn't want to get stuck in the mud. So in about 10 minutes, I got everything packed up, hopped in the driver's seat, and just took off. The dog people were probably really confused. They hadn't really seen a lot of activity happening over in my camp, and then we just booked it out of there. And I really, we couldn't have got out of there any later. We would have had a big problem. I was already starting to slide in the road. It was getting sticky in a few spots. It's pretty rutted out. Trying to get out of that road as fast as I could without bottoming out or damaging something underneath my rig, not getting stuck, not sliding into anything. That was excitement I didn't really want. So there's the main highway, and then you turn onto this forest road, and then another forest road to get back to where I was. So I got to that connection of the two forest roads, and the main forest road is gravel. It's pretty well maintained. I wasn't too worried about getting stuck there. But I got to that little intersection. I was so close, and my tires started sticking, and I started sliding. And I'm just thinking, I'm so close to getting to the good road where I know I won't get stuck. I can't get stuck here. So I just gunned it, and, rocks and mud and all, and made it onto the main road. So luckily, we made it out of the forest right on time. I got onto the highway and started going, and hit this huge pocket where it was just dumping buckets and buckets of rain. It was coming right toward our camp. So if I had been any later getting out of there, I probably would have been stuck. It was just pouring once I got out onto the road. I had to drive 10 or 15 miles an hour. My windshield wipers are going full speed, and I can't see anything. It was really a little scary. So, we got out of the forest and back into town. I'm in Pine now. Luckily and unluckily, my dad's been a little sick, so he's been staying home, so I could park in front of his shop since Friday. He doesn't work Sunday and Monday, so I can stay here for today and tomorrow, but I do need to find a new place to go. So that's exciting. I was hoping, and looking at the weather report, it should have been a solid plan. I was hoping that, it didn't rain yesterday or today up on the mountain, so it should be able to, dry out enough that I could get to, the closer spots and still stay there and then come back down for the weekend. The clouds are not looking in my favor. It's looking a little stormy, so we'll see. I have until Tuesday morning, essentially. My dad comes into work at 8, so I have until 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, which is also when I start work, to figure out where I'm going to go next. So that's fun. Another update, Arizona is still on fire, and even more now. There's been a fire up by the Grand Canyon, one down by Tucson. We had the bushfire was between Phoenix and Payson. It had the Highway 87 was closed for a while. Because of that fire, it's open again and good, but now there's the Pulse fire that's about 11 miles west of Payson in the Matazelle Wilderness out there. It was small and contained, and it was started by lightning from the thunderstorm the other day. It was small and contained, and then we had some really intense wind that just took over. It's now 0% contained, over 500 acres, and it's heading right up this canyon. Ooh! Told you. Wind. It is heading up the canyon towards Pine. As of right now, we're being told we're not in any immediate threat, but it is always a threat. You know, this is the forest. There's fires every year, man-made and natural. It's just a part of living here. So with that happening also, and the monsoons, it's kind of like, I need to get out of here as soon as possible. I am leaving here on the 20th. My sister and her husband and their family, their baby and dogs, they're also RVers. They've been stationary, but she just got a travel nursing job in Thermopolis, Wyoming. So I'm going to follow them. I don't know if I'll stay there the whole time they are, but we're all going to go up together so we can kind of have some adventure. But that's not until the 20th, and it's the 5th. So I do need a plan for the next couple weeks of somewhere to go that isn't flooded and mushy or on fire. So these are my options. I looked a little bit up toward Flagstaff and Winslow. We'll be going that way when we head up to Wyoming anyway, so I could be up there and then meet up with them when they come through. But it's 1,000 degrees up there and not great, so I don't know. There's a couple of places off the 260 out of Payson that I could potentially stay at. I don't really know yet. Don't really have much of a plan. Tonto National Forest is closed at the moment. Coconino, where I had been staying, is still open, and Apache Sitgreaves is still open, so I have some options there, but as usual, I do need to have reliable internet, phone service, so that kind of eliminates a lot of places right off the bat. As you can see, I look disgusting. It's about 1,000 degrees in Pine. There is a nice breeze, as you can see by my curtain going crazy, but it's still hot. I mean, it's inside Tammy is kind of like being in a little oven. There's not a whole lot of cross breeze or circulation going, and outside it's just been too insanely hot to do anything. And like I said, I'm parked in front of my dad's shop, so it's not like a good camping spot. I gotta set my chair outside and put my awning out. Not gonna happen. The clouds are now coming in. Looks like we're gonna get a storm maybe, which would be nice and cool things off. Not nice for my camping spot, but good for the forest and good for the fire. So, and I love monsoon season here. It's kind of awesome. So that'll help cool it off a little too. But right now it's really friggin' hot. Sheila is just sleeping on the floor all day. She's hot and sad. So that's what's going on. That's my update. So things kind of took a little bit of a turn, and we don't really have a plan going forward, where we're going to stay, what we're going to do. But it's fun!